Oh my gosh! So this is the first of its kind. There is a little bit of a downside when the flower that one Pokemon is based off of. And when the light hits it, pushing mini bears. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is a new week. It's June now actually. We are halfway through the year. How wild. And it's Monday, so let's go straight into the sleep research, see what we found, and then choose our next campsite area, which will probably be Topalo. Actually, I don't know why I said that. I meant to say the tundra. Maybe my heart wants to go to Topalo. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to go there actually. But this is sleep session 680. My Snorlax got 10 hours and 10 minutes of sleep. And we got dozing types, so let's see what the end of the week would look like for us. Yesterday, I encountered a Cresselia, a natural encounter Cresselia, my first time, because during the event, I don't think I had any natural encounters. I don't recall. But let's see, we got a Sneasel there. We've been waiting for that. And oh my gosh, do you guys see that? There's no way. It's a shiny Honchkrow. Now I have both. I have the shiny, that's so funny. But I have the shiny Murkrow, and now I have a shiny Honchkrow. That is insane. Holy cow. I did not expect to see that. And there's no shiny bonuses for last night's sleep session either, since the new moon day event was over already. But wow. Can it top my current Murkrow? Probably not. But damn, now I have to think about a thumbnail because I could do the same thumbnail that I did for the previous video. Sorry about the noise outside, there's a wind blower. So I could do the same thumbnail as my last video highlighting the shiny Pokemon I found. But there has been news of a new event that's coming out, the first of its kind. And I was planning on covering that, so now I don't know what to do. I mean, I guess I could incorporate both, right? But oh my gosh, how cool is that? Where's the last one? Oh right, it was a shiny Honchkrow. Oh my gosh, I still can't believe it. I guess the birds just love me. Actually, speaking of birds, I have a window over there and there's a little ledge, and sometimes I would have pigeons sit right there and they would just like, I don't know, is it cooing, the sound that they make? But they make like this low humming noise. And let's see, this looks like, I do not know how many pips that is, but we do know that the Sneasel is 16 pips. I'm gonna throw my bonus biscuit at it. The reason why I'm not using that bonus biscuit for the Honchkrow is because shiny Pokemon only require one Poke Biscuit to get caught. So unfortunately for me, that was not a big hit or critical capture for that Sneasel, and I only have one Poke Biscuit, as you could see there. So we are the poorest we've ever been in the history of our recordings of Pokemon Sleep. So yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, what a diva. Look at that pose. Wow, look at that wingspan. Alright, so yeah, I am pretty poor and I'm like very low on sleep points too. I will explain why later. But I'm obviously going to use this portrait. Sorry for those who want Sneasel candy, but I do want to flex my shiny Honchkrow. I also ranked up, so I'm ranked 62 now. It's been quite the grind from getting from 61 to 62. But let's see, let's take a look at this bad boy. Or oh yeah, it is a bad boy. It's a bashful nature, and I forget what bashful is, but it is beans. My other one was coffee beans. This is coffee beans. Double beans, super luck. And this is the stats. Berry finding at the very end. Inventory up L, ingredient finding M. Skill trigger comes pretty late as well. Dream shard bonus at level 10 is not really what I want. But let's see, bashful, oh right, bashful is neutral. So yeah, my previous one is definitely a lot better. So I'm kind of sad this is a Honchkrow because ideally I would evolve the Murkrow I have into a Honchkrow. If this was a Murkrow, I could have just kept it as is. So then I have like a copy of each, but it's alright. Alright, so the final strength is at 1.6 mil. We accomplished Master 10 in the icy, harsh, and cold tundra. Let's choose our next campsite. And where do I want to go? I'm at area bonus 59 here. So let's see. Let's compare that to Topalo, and that will be the deciding factor between whether or not we will choose Topalo or Snowdrop Tundra. Also, I'm breaking out a bit. Do you see that on my forehead? A little bit of a breakout period. I went up on everything, which is pretty nice. I don't remember my personal best. Oh, and I got an S grade. I'm actually surprised I got an S grade because I know I had a little bit of a hiccup during this week. Okay, Tundra is 59 and Taupe is 69. So it looks like we are back in the Tundra just to raise the area bonus. I'm slowly going to try to raise all the area bonuses of the maps that are still under 75. And today we are looking for curries and stews for today and the rest of the week. It's quite the commotion outside. All right. Oh, there's my shiny Murkrow, as you can see over there. And let's get this show on the road. I have my shiny Ditto out. I'm curious. Let's see whether it procs its skill. And if it procs its copy skill for my Murkrow, will it show up shiny? Because if it's anything else, it's not shiny. But if it's a Murkrow, is it shiny? All right, well, we're not going to know if it's going to be shiny on a shiny Pokemon. But let's gather everyone's goodies and then switch out our team. I was supposed to have my Big Pot Extra Tasty team overnight, but I was busy yesterday, so I didn't have time to swap my team out on time, which meant that this group of Pokemon were low energy. And I didn't want them to just sit in the box low energy, so I decided to just sleep with them overnight to regen them back to 100. So that was the reasoning behind that, but let's switch out our team into our curry team right away, which is this one right here, but I have some Pokemon that I do not need. So my staples are my Gengar and my Quacklevel. I always thought it was Quacksquavel, but it's Quackquavel. And then Bean Dude for beans. And lastly, who shall I add at the end? Oh, I guess, do I need ginger? Well, we'll do this for now. I forget between the salad and the curry which ones require ginger. Oh, so I actually don't need ginger. So let's just add someone that's going to farm more beans for us because my Bean Dude does struggle a little bit with beans. All right, well, I can't find one, so let's just do that later. We are now at basic 2. Let's feed our Snorlax really quickly. I didn't have time to farm ingredients to prepare, so I cannot make my ninja curry. So let's see what we can make. Limber corn stew. Let's do this. Corn stew sounds absolutely delicious, but it can be a hit or miss because sometimes the corn is just not sweet or the dish itself is so under-seasoned. So this is going to be a really low dish strength, 15k. Low for me compared to what I'm used to. So slow progress, but that is all right. Our objective is not to reach Master 20. It is just to enjoy the vibes here, chill, and to raise the area bonus. All right, and that brings us to basic 3. Let's pick up our sleep points. As you can see, I'm at 86 sleep points. Well, now at 186, and that's the lowest I've ever been for sleep points. Let's see what we get on a daily gift. Dream clusters. I was hoping for cookies though. Whoever is clanking that metal outside is really testing my patience. But let's take a look into the Pokebox. And yeah, that's all my catches. As you can see, I did catch that Cresselia. Is it any good? We will see. Let's start off with the Happiny. We have double potatoes, and these are the sub-skills in nature. So we got Berry Finding S, which I quite like. Paired with Inventory Up L and M, which adds for a lot more space in the pockets. Helping Speed M is nice as well, but Ingredient Finder at the very end is super late, very, very late. And I have no ingredient up nature, so this is going to be discarded, or not discarded, sent for candy. And then I found a Palmy. So this is a double milk Palmy. We do have skill trigger S and M at level 50, S at level 75. And it is a modest nature, which means it's ingredient finding up and helping speed down. So personally for me, I wouldn't invest in this only because I have better healers. So if I were to invest in a Palmy, another healer, it would have to be on par basically with what I currently have on my roster, on par or better. And this is not better than what I currently have. So for that reason, you're not going to use this. This is a Spheal I have. As you guys know, in the Tundra, it was my objective to look for a Spheal with berry finding, which I do have at level 50. But its speed of help down. Although it's not the end of the world, I just would want more speed sub-skills on this to make it faster. So for that reason, I'm not going to invest in this. The other skills aren't really going to help me out either, so that's a bummer. Left side is gold skills, right side is silver skills. And then this is the Cresselia I got. So I used all my sleep points to buy a master biscuit because I did not find the Cresselia for the event that happened a couple months ago. So when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, Cresselia. I caught it, and this is the sub-skills and natures. So overall, it's actually not bad. I just think it's going to be a very long-term investment, especially once I get to level 100. Like, let's be real, when are we going to get to level 100? Skill level up is nice because it's very free-to-play friendly. I don't have to use a main skill or as much main skill seeds. But I really wanted a main skill up nature. So that's like the bummer in all this. Moving on to this Eevee that I got, berry finding at level 10, how interesting. Sleep EXP bonus, not really needed, and everything else is just interesting but not for me. And then the Honchkrow, the shiny Honchkrow that we got, so let's start this. And yeah, that is pretty much what I caught last week. We will see this week what we have in store. But look at that, it's so pink and blue and like a touch of yellow. It's so cute. This is the vibe of my box right now. Alright, so let's go into the news and let's look at what we have missed. First of all, Mawile is coming to the game. Wow. Now to me, I've never been that much excited about Mawile. I can appreciate its design, the ponytail, the high pony, it's giving Ariana Grande. The flared pants, fashion queen, and the black gloves, very nice touch as well. She has that Hime haircut going on with the sides over there, and then the bangs that are a little shorter above her eyebrows. So quite cute. It looks like she's wearing a one-piece jumper, and it's a steel type Pokemon, so it's coming to the game. Steel type is in Old Gold Power Plant, I believe. But let's take a look into the details of this new Pokemon. It will be arriving June 9th, so next week. They usually give us like a week buffer to prepare for arrival of new Pokemon that's usually accompanied with an event. And Mawile will be appearing at Greengrass Isle, Taupe Hollow, and Old Gold Power Plant. Oh, so I probably should have went to Taupe Hollow or Old Gold Power Plant. Oops. But it's okay. I think we'll do okay. Slumbering Sleep type for those who are curious, but the main skill is Hyper Cutter, which is also a variation of the Ingredient Draw S skill that we saw with the arrival of Honchkrow. But this one, instead of sometimes getting dream shards, you will sometimes get more ingredients than usual. So yeah, very interesting to see what the list of ingredients are going to look like for Mawile's Ingredient Draw S, now that we know how it looks and how it works. And I want to know, are you guys excited? When you saw this, were you like, oh my gosh, Mawile, this is like my vibe, my Pokemon? The same way I felt with like other Pokemons that came. So very happy for you guys for your moment now. And let's take a look into the accompanying event that's coming with it. So this is the first of its kind, the first time we're seeing this. The event is called Packed Portions Cooking Week. And you got the Mawile there holding on to the Happiny and the Squirtle, and it's so cute. And this is the outline of the event. There's plenty to go around. It's time for Packed Portions Cooking Week. This week-long event is a special opportunity where helper Pokemon with ingredient specialty will shine. So up until now, when we saw a special boost in something, it's usually main skill, like more chances of main skill proccing. So usually skill-based Pokemon would have their moment because skill specialty Pokemon are able to double trigger. So it's interesting to see that now we have an event where ingredient specialty Pokemon are really going to have their moment to shine. So I think without a doubt we will eventually get an event where berry specialists will shine as well. So it's fun to see them incorporate that ingredient Pokemon are getting their spotlight. And during this event, strength gains from dishes will be multiplied by 1.5. So for all those who like to do Master 20 challenges, this is your time. But there is a little bit of a downside when it comes to this, so I will talk about that soon. On top of that, some Pokemon with ingredient specialty and certain Pokemon that have skill specialty with cooking related main skills are more likely to appear. So the event is happening on June 9th with the arrival of Mawile, and it's happening in all areas. So the event is happening in all areas, but you have to be careful of the area you do choose because Mawile might not appear. So Mawile will be appearing in Greengrass, Taupe Hollow, and Old Gold Power Plant. And if you decide to go in any other area, you're not going to see the Mawile there, but you will have the event bonuses, which is nice. So these are the bonuses for this event. The following will trigger in all applicable areas during this event. So for all days, your cooking pot will be 50% larger, or 200% on Sundays only. That means more ingredients can fit. Pokemon recover 5 additional energy from dishes. Wow, so that means that our healers might get a break sooner, and then you could use that spot for another ingredient Pokemon, because with a 50% larger pod size, you are going to need a lot of ingredients. I think I might even have to bring up my Vaporeon because it's just been collecting dust. But this is a great time for ingredient magnet Pokemon, although Vaporeon is not a ingredient specialty. Once it evolves from Eevee, they turn into skill specialist. And I can see how this can be an issue for newer players too, just because you might not have found the ingredient finding Pokemon for you. And early game, I remember it was a struggle just getting enough ingredients. So if you're a new player joining on this event, this could be quite a difficult event for you to enjoy, just due to the fact that you might feel a little discouraged of not being able to fill your pot out entirely. So main skill ingredient magnet S and ingredient draw S will be 1.5 times more effective. So yeah, going back to what I said about taking out my Vaporeon, who has not seen or touched grass and smelt fresh air in quite the long time. It's finally gonna get its moment in the sun again. And final strength gains from dishes will be multiplied by 1.5, or 3 for extra tasty dishes, or 4.5 times extra tasty on dishes for Sunday only. So this event bonus is very exciting for a lot of people because the boost in dish strength helps a lot of us achieve our goals of getting to M20. But the only thing though is that unlike the Spring Festival, where we knew what the favorite dish would be for that week, which was salad, we will not know. It's going to be random for next week. So for me personally, I never done the easy travel pass trick where you just swap islands until you get on the island you want with the favorite dish that you want. I've never done that because I just don't want to use my resources on easy travel tickets. But I do know that it's a strategy that people do. So if you are aiming to get M20, you might want to see whether or not you have enough resources to purchase those tickets, and then choose a dish category that you know you excel in. Because once you know what dish category you want to focus on, you could start farming for those ingredients this week. And I know that when people farm for ingredients, when it's an ingredient farming week to prepare for the following week on an event that has bonus modifiers like this, people usually forego cooking on their prep week just to save up all the ingredients that they need. Now for me, because I don't want to use an easy travel ticket, I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just going to see what common ingredient I will need to farm for. So I think things like it's safe to farm coffee, leek, corn, eggs maybe, depending. And then I will just have to wait and see whether I get lucky. So yeah, I am super excited, but in terms of reaching my goals of M20, we will really, that's probably just down to luck for me. Now I can make my life easier and do the whole easy travel pass thing, but at the same time, I just can't be bothered, to be honest. Let me know if you guys are gonna do that though. Each time a helper Pokemon with the ingredient specialty brings you an ingredient as it regularly would, it will have 1 extra, which is really great. The limited time mini candy boost function will be available, great for new players who are trying to catch up, and bring your ingredient Pokemon to level 30. I would say if it's over level 30, don't use it. Use it on a Pokemon that hasn't gotten to level 30 yet, just so that you can unlock the second ingredient slot. Because once you unlock that second ingredient slot, you will find that you are farming much more ingredients. That was a game changer for me when I was early game. There was a lot of Pokemon that I was using that wasn't at level 30, and I was always complaining that I wasn't having enough ingredients, but getting it to level 30 was a really game changer. That helped me get over that little initial plateau that I reached. So mini candy boosts will be really helpful for you guys to achieve that goal as well. A few Pokemon of different sleep styles will appear during sleep research regardless of your sleep type for that day. So yeah, very typical. Greater appearance rate. So this is what we are going to expect. Mawile, the highlighted Pokemon of this event, will be a greater appearance rate for areas that we've already mentioned before, but there are also slightly greater appearance rates for, and this will be very exciting for some of you because I know some of you in the Discord are still looking for like your Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmanders. So super exciting for this opportunity for you. So I was really lucky. I already found my Mono Honey Bulbasaur and my Mono Milk Squirtle. I do need a triple sausage Charmander though. So it seems like for me, I might just find myself in Taupe Hollow because 1, there's a Mawile there, and 2, I get to encounter more Charmanders to catch. Because I really want a triple sausage Charmander. I have a double sausage Charmander that's doing me okay, but I think late game especially if we're going to get more events like this where pot size just explodes. Having mono ingredient Pokemon are really going to excel more because you're just getting more of the ingredient that you want. So yeah, I want a triple sausage Charmander. There's also Ghastly, which is really great. You want a double mushrooms for the Ghastly because those are great mushroom farmers. Pinsir, I have one, but ever since I got my honey Bulbasaur, I don't use my Pinsirs anymore. Eevee, I'm no longer really in the need because I've lived through two Eevee Day events. Dratini, that's nice as well. Lapis Lakeside, but there's no Mawiles there. We got Wooper. I'm not sure if that counts for Paldean Wooper, but I'm guessing not since usually they would say, right? Murkrow, Aeron, Heracross, Delibird, Happiny, Sprigatito, and Fuecoco. So yeah, in each area. Let's see. For me, it would be Topalo. So that's Charmander, Ghastly, Eevee, Wooper, Mawile, and Fuecoco. I don't need a Fuecoco. I have a really good Fuecoco. But yeah, I would really just be looking for the Charmander and the Mawile. Greengrass is great for new players because you just are able to encounter a lot of Pokemon you probably are still in the hunt for finding like the one or a good enough one to use. So don't feel bad about going to Greengrass Isle. I think once you're mid or late game, you're really looking to lower your spawn pool just so that you can narrow down the Pokemon that you want. And let's see, Old Gold Power Plant, you're going to see Ghastly, Eevee, Wooper, Murkrow, Aeron, Mawile, Sprigatito, and Fuecoco. Now, I would like a Mono Potato Sprigatito, but I think I'd rather go to Topalo. So yeah, looks like we're going to Topalo next week. I'm kind of kicking myself for not going there this week. How funny, looking back now when I was saying what I was going to go to and I Freudian slipped Topalo, which will probably be Topalo. Yeah, that was a sign. So limited time mini candy boost. I'm not going to go too much into it, but helper Pokemon get twice the usual amount of EXP for using 4 times the amount of Dream Shards. And this function can be used up to 50 candies per day. And you can toggle it on and off, so make sure you toggle it off if you're not going to be using it, especially if it's a Pokemon that you shouldn't be using it on or don't need to use it on. And that is everything that we need to know about the Packed Portions Cooking Week Part 1 coming to Pokemon Sleep next week. This is pretty exciting. New events like this are always super exciting. They do a really good job at rotating events that come in because the events that come in are useful, you know? They're useful, they're fun. But 2 years into the game, they are adding more events, more different events, and it's just so well done for a little phone game. Alright my friends, we are now in the research community portion of our video, our little yap session for everyone that likes to stay around for this part. This is my iced latte. Cheers everyone. That is so good. So as you guys know, I live in Singapore. My boyfriend and I went to Takashimaya yesterday, and on the basement level, there usually is like this food festival type of thing. They rotate it every month. And this month there isn't really a theme, but the first booth that you see when you go down the escalators is a little matcha store or a matcha booth making matcha drinks. And I've seen them on TikTok because they were going viral for their banana pudding matcha drink. Now, I'm not too much of a fan of banana flavored desserts. Personally, I find the Magnolia banana pudding a little too sweet for my liking. I had it in New York. It's really good though, but just a tad too sweet for my liking. But matcha has this nice bitterness to it, and I love pairing sweet and bitter. So I really want to get it. Usually though, Takashimaya is always so full. There's always lines. So I don't know if going to attempt on getting it would be a good idea, but I really want to try it. So I might go out to try to get a drink. But that's like something I'm really looking forward to. I haven't had a matcha in a while, and I'm really looking forward to trying banana pudding matcha. That just sounds so delicious. And yesterday my boyfriend and I also went to the flower garden here, and I have to say it's probably one of my favorite experiences here in Singapore, primarily because I love plants and I love flowers. So being able to see flowers that I've always only ever seen through a screen, but now being able to see in real life was really a moment for me, and I took so many pictures. I was just so happy with the amount of flowers that were there. It was just, they were so beautiful, and there was also Bulgarian roses, and if you know, Bulgarian roses are super fragrant. They are usually the flower that's used to capture that scent and essence of roses. So if you've ever tried like a rose water spray and you get a whiff of that rose scent. More often than not, they're using Bulgarian roses for that. Speaking of rose spray, I kind of want to pick up rose spray as well because, yeah, my skin is not feeling the best, and I've noticed it's been feeling a little irritated. It's also almost my strawberry week, so there's that too. So I just need something to calm it down. And I know that rose water spray, when I've used it in the past, it was really good. But you really have to look at the label and see the ingredients because you don't want any unnecessary added fluff to it. But yeah, the Bulgarian rose we smelled, it was just such a beautiful smell. So my boyfriend and I were like taking turns smelling it. But it was really crowded as well, but kind of expected on a weekend. But I had this lovely moment. So I have my bag, it's like a crossover, but I can also wear it on my shoulder. But I was wearing it crossovered, and I have my Hawaiian Hello Kitty on it that I got as a present from my cousin. And the way that my bag sits, it's just at hip level. So the Hawaiian Hello Kitty is at hip level, which is the perfect height for a lot of the toddler and children that were there. So I was like looking at flowers, I was taking pictures, and then I noticed like something yanked my bag. I looked down and it was the cutest baby girl looking at my Hawaiian Hello Kitty, and I looked down and I'm like, hi, do you like it? And she was so shy, but she was like, you know, showing me my Hello Kitty, and it was just so cute. And then her dad was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it at all. Such a precious moment. And that really made me smile, seeing how excited she was to see the Hello Kitty. And it's so cute because her hands are so tiny, so when she's grabbing it, it just looked so ginormous in her hands too. But yeah, the flower garden was really nice. The AC is really nice, so I could see why it is a popular place for people to bring their children. It's in the Marina Bay area, so they have like the science center there and other things that you can look at. Actually, let me show you guys some of the pictures I took. You guys, I found the flower that one Pokemon is based off of. Do you know which one I'm talking about? I can't for the life of me remember the name. So even if I tried to look it up, I can't. Actually, maybe I just like write flower Pokemon and I'll plop it here. But yeah, it's so fun when you see things that are inspired, that Pokemon took inspirations from in nature. But found this, and I love these because they look like dancing fairies, and there's so many colors of them as well. This beautiful hanging rose, gorgeous, love that. And then delphiniums, these are some of my favorite filler flowers to add in bouquets. So seeing them in person, uncut, I was like, oh my gosh, they're just so majestic because they just look so ethereal. They look like something you would find in Zelda's Breath of the Wild, you know? So when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, I need to take a picture. And more roses. I was so happy seeing how many roses, although there were not a lot of blooms on the stems or brushes. So yeah, there's that. But just seeing all the different types of variations of roses, like, do you see this? There's a gradient to it. So it's pink on the bottom, and then as you reach more upwards, it's corally. And I love it. I was so happy. These are beautiful. Actually, when I had a little tiny small business, I made paper flowers, and I actually modeled a lot of my roses off this one. So I'll show you guys what that looks like later, but remember this. Beautiful, by the way. And look at this one. The inside is fully exposed. There are so many variations to roses, so I've only ever seen them online because when I was doing my little small paper craft business, I wanted to find like the rose that I liked to make. And I just learned that there were so many different variations of them. And it is truly a dream of mine to one day have a home where I have a nice backyard garden so that I can grow like herbs and produce, but also flowers that match the season. And every time, there's this one road in my neighborhood back at home, and their front yard had the most beautiful flowers. They had flowers that you normally wouldn't find people grow, like dahlias, zinnias, I think they're called. Dahlias, I know for sure they're called. And yeah, I would love to have a little flower garden that I take care of. It was actually this month, it was Lilytopia. Last month was Tulip Mania, and then the month before was the cherry blossoms. So we weren't able to see the cherry blossoms or the tulips, but we were able to appreciate a lot of the lilies. Now, these aren't lilies, these are hydrangeas with, I think, puffer fishes, but you do see the lilies beside them. And did you know that depending on the acidity of the rain, that is actually what contributes to the colors of the hydrangeas? So that's why sometimes you see variations in how how pink they are, how white they are, or even how green they are. These are absolutely gorgeous. But when you get lilies, you have to be careful. I actually like to pluck out those brown things that you see. There's 6 of them surrounding the middle, because those will stain like no other. Like, you know how turmeric stains when you touch it? This will stain when you touch it. So if you have lilies, just take like a Kleenex and then pluck them out with something protecting your hands. If the pollen gets on your clothes, use a stain remover, because it will stain. So I had to be careful. I didn't expect for the lilies to be displayed like this, where you could walk through them. And I was wearing a white dress, so I had to be really careful not to get all of that rubbing on my dress. Otherwise, it would have been a nightmare to remove. But look, these are so beautiful. The most gorgeous, shy, blushing pink hue. I took more pictures. I've reached that age where I like to take pictures of flowers. And these ones are gorgeous because they just look so plush. The white and the green, there's just something so creamy about it. And I think these might be my favorites. I think these are called double tulips. Gorgeous. They didn't have parrot tulips though. And the setup that they make on the first floor is really nice because there's lots of opportunities for photo ops. They had this little like Italian nona's kitchen type setting, which was pretty cute. So as you can see, lemons and more stock flowers. This reminds me of Spirited Away, when the girl runs through the patch of flowers. Stone brick oven. These, I actually have no idea what these flowers are. So I was so intrigued. I took pictures. More roses. I believe these are roses. Seeing how all the other buds look, but so gorgeous. These two clusters of flowers. I was super happy when I saw these Japanese anemones, and they're just so cute. There's just something so cute and whimsical about them, and I love them. I saw them in Japan for the first time as well before, and I just love how whimsical they are. Like this with cosmos flowers, so beautiful. I also saw spider lilies in Japan for the first time when I went a couple years ago, and that was so fun. They're a lot smaller than I thought. Spider lilies, or at least the ones that I saw. And I believe this is a camellia, the flower that Chanel bases its little iconic flower motif off of. But it does look different. And that's the last flower picture I took. Alright, so let me show you guys my paper crafts. I used to make paper flowers out of Italian crepe paper. It was a pandemic hobby of mine. I was at a bookstore, and you know when you're in the line, they sell like little stuff to entice you to pick up more things to purchase. Well, there was this little kit that basically provided you with the papers and then a tutorial on how to make paper flowers. And it was like the outcome of it, of my first thing, was like super amateur looking, like kindergarten crafts. But I was like, how do I make this better? And then I fully jumped into the world of crepe paper and paper crafts. And I've seen other men and women make beautiful flower arrangements and pieces out of Italian crepe paper. So that was like my hyperfixation during the pandemic. And then I learned to wrap bouquets as well. And slowly I started getting interest of people who wanted to purchase it for their loved ones, because I've had comments like, oh, my partner doesn't like real flowers, but I think they'll appreciate this one because they don't have to water it. Or maybe they have like cats, so they can't have certain flowers as well. But yeah, my first thing that I started to learn were how to make roses based off the rose I showed you guys before, right? So these are 3 stems, and this is what it looks like. So I'm not like the most happiest with this, but they evolve over time as I learn to make them better. I do love the way I dyed the paper though. So it was a lot of rubbing alcohol and Indian ink that I used to create the coloring of certain petals. And then I was invited to this Japanese festival thing where they had other people come to sell their wares and arts. And that was my first time attending something like that, and it was so much fun. And I made cherry blossoms. So these are double cherry blossoms, which is why it's not the typical 5-leaf. There are so many variations of cherry blossoms, but when I did the 5-leaf one, I noticed it just looked a little missing. So I did the double cherry blossoms because they just look more fluffier and full, and 3 flowers per stem with 2 leaves. And these were a really great seller and one of my favorite things to do. The insides there, like the little, I don't know what they're called. I mean, I should know what they're called, but those were painstakingly long to do because I had to color the top with yellow and then finally cut each one. And you're using like a tiny scissors. So I had a lot of hand cramps. And then on top of that, when you're making them and you're gluing them together, it's a lot of pinching motions to like get each petal on. So like just both my hands were always so dry and always so achy. So that part I do not miss, but I do miss the creative aspect of it and how proud I would feel after making something. This is a peony. This was a commission I had because someone wanted to propose to their fiance and her favorite flower is a peony and they wanted a purple one. So this was something that I'm very, very proud of. Look at that tan I got there. Surprisingly, I'm not that tan here in Singapore. But yeah, different angles. I wanted to capture like the moment where it's full, but also some leaves, some petals almost about to fully fall off, because I think that just captures the beauty of nature very well. Here's the underside of it. This might be my favorite shot. I also love this, just like the crinkling and everything of it. And the middle, because it's like a bomb peony. So it's very voluminous, a lot of volume. And yeah, beautiful shade of purple as well, like a lavender purple. Here are some cosmos I made, or my attempt. It was my first time making it. I am happy with how it came out, but looking back now, I'm not proud of it. I could have done it a lot better, but my client was super happy. And then around Christmas time, I had a commission for a poinsettia. I think it was because the upcoming birthday that the commissioner was gifting this to was a December baby, and I think the flower for December or November was a poinsettia. So this is also my first time making it, but it turned out very well for the first time. So very happy with this. And here's what it looks like in motion. Do you guys enjoy watching this? Like, I'm having fun sharing this with you guys because it's like a glimpse of a past life of mine. But I don't know. Yeah, that's the poinsettia. And then the same girl who commissioned that decided to make another commission the following year. She wanted 3 flowers because it was for a family that just had their first baby, so she wanted to gift them a flower for each of the family members' birth month. So this is a little daisy, and I think the daisy was for the birth of the baby, which is so fitting because it's like so small and dainty compared to the other 2 flowers. The next one being this one. This one has to be one of my favorites. I'm just so happy with the way the coloring turned out. Like, do you see how the edges are a little bit more vibrant compared to the middle? And the way the paper lines are too. I mean, it's just, I'm very, very happy with how this came out. I forget what this is called though, like an azalea or something? I forget. But definitely also one of my favorites that I've made. And when the light hits it at just the perfect moment, it's just so magical looking. Like, do you see the sunlight going in there? Gorgeous. Then here's a closer look, a video view. And you just plop this in a vase. You don't ever have to think about watering it. You do have to keep it away from sunlight though, because just like any photograph or a tattoo, the more exposure it gets to sunlight, the more the color fades. And then for another event I went to, I decided to do these little dome gold base jars thing with the rose in the middle. And they look more like the roses I showed you before that I captured inspiration from. So this is when I was feeling a lot more confident with the look and feel and quality of the roses. And then I added stickers on the bottom of the base so that the top doesn't pop off. These were also a great seller. The lighting's not the best here, but another rose. Just look at how simple that looks like. I should have thickened up the stem a bit more though. I also crochet, so I made this little Totoro thing and I put a little leaf over its head because I thought it was cute. And then a spider lily. These are just really bad shots though because it was nighttime and I tried to get like the moody vibe. But yeah, this is before I even knew what a real life spider lily looked like because they're a lot smaller in person. But yeah, this was a very well liked flower in the anime community. Actually, I had a lot of anime people come to the page later because I had like pages for my crafts. There was one comment that was so funny and it was like, I know something bad's gonna happen in an anime the moment I see this flower. This is like the cutest shade of, I don't even know how to describe that color, but do you see the way the sunlight just hits off it? It's just so beautiful. And different lighting as well. I think this was my favorite color shade to work with because it just looked so peachy and creamy. Oh, here's a better look of the spider lilies. But these took a long time to make because, mind you, I have to make every little piece by hand. So every little long noodle thing that you see there, every petal, cut, glue, assemble, mold into the shape. Like, it's a lot. And look, that's baby me selling my flowers. And this is when I was learning to make parrot tulips. These are really fun to make as well, but just very time consuming. Painting every petal and then waiting for them to dry. And I would do this all in my room, so I had to make sure a window was always open so that it was properly ventilated. But this is what they look like before I fluff out each petal. Because with crepe paper, think of it like those party streamers you had in kindergarten where like you make them in loops and stuff and you could stretch the paper out. This is the same way, but the papers are much more durable. So this is what it looks like before, and then I have to, one by one, each petal, stretch them out. But while I'm stretching them out, I also have to make sure that I don't accidentally rip it, because that has happened before. And yeah, I would tease certain things on my Instagram. I loved when my album was just filled with flowers, so a lot of the cherry blossoms. So this is before color grading, this is after. Although I kind of feel like the before was better. And then more roses. So sometimes I would put more petals on them to give them that much more bigger look. And the lilies, not my best work though. This is like the first time I did a lily, but there was a lot to improve. Oh, this was one of my favorites when I was just starting off. A butterfly ranunculus, this is what it's called. It's just so whimsical. It looks like a skirt flowing in the air. Love it. There was a moment when I was practicing on sweet peas because I loved how cute and whimsical they looked as well. And this was like some of my first works when I was making roses. So as you could see, there's like a huge jump in how they look. Like these just look like whatever, you know? But I got a lot better. And I also crocheted these two over here. I was in a little crocheting kick as well. So when I wasn't making paper flowers, I was crocheting mini bears. All right, back to the game. Sorry for rambling on about that, but it was also a nice walk down memory lane for me. The reason why I stopped was because I made the mistake of rushing too quick into making it a business, and then it kind of grew to a point where it was just not enjoyable for me anymore in terms of like now having to think about the logistics of the business side, keeping up with demand. But I'm only one person, right? And doing it all by myself was just so taxing on my sleep schedule and on my hands. And I could have hired someone, but it's also like having to teach them, and then the profit that I made off of it was not enough for me to hire an additional person to make the craft. But on top of that, it was just like it gets to the point where your small business becomes a supply and demand thing, and it took away from the creative fun that I had, which was the initial reason I started it. It was just so fun creating and making something beautiful. But turning it into a business just like took that away and made it not fun anymore. So I slowly started taking less commissions and going to less events. And there was a moment where I did also make pins and stickers. Those were really well liked as well. And now I have a lot of pins and stickers. So I don't know, if ever you guys see me in person, like don't be shy to come up to me and I'll give you a pin or a sticker of your choosing. And I don't consider it a failure. For the longest time I did consider it a failure, but I've learned so much about myself through the process, and also the process of like running a small business and learning that I can't rely on myself to do everything. It gets to the point where you have to have trust in delegating tasks to other people as well. So yeah, I'm much happier now that I've stepped away from it, and I haven't made a paper flower since then, just because like I'm just so burnt out from it. So whenever I see other small businesses online talk about like why they close shop, I totally get it. You get to the point where your hobby turns into a little side hustle, but then you take yourself away from the reason of why you took on that hobby in the first place. So maybe one day I'll get back to it. Who knows? I always tell myself that with any of the artistic hobbies that I've taken. Like I'm like, one day I'll go back into watercoloring. One day I'll go back into crocheting. But I mean, I still have the rest of my life. to get back into that stuff. I still have all my supplies too, so there really isn't any rush. But one day when I'm ready, I think I'll have a lot of fun doing that again. But I hope you guys enjoyed looking at all that with me. It is, wow, I just can't, like, I can remember the feeling of how I felt when all of that was happening. It was just so surreal, especially when I started making profit. And to see my friends show up to certain events or like help me out, even, that was beyond anything I can ever imagine or wish for. And just the support of everyone wanting to see me succeed in this, it was just so amazing. I think that to me was the part of the business that I cherished the most, seeing just people show up and like root for me for all of it. And yeah, it's okay to give up on something that you feel you no longer want to do. I feel like at the end of the day, you gain so much from the experience. Like, I just gained so much from that experience, and things I've learned during that time I was still able to carry through in my personal life, or like even when I'm making videos and stuff, you know? So yeah, don't ever think that you're a failure for dropping something. I think, but there are moments when it is an issue if you find yourself constantly doing that and if it's affecting your life in a negative way. But other than that, don't be afraid to like try things, and if they don't succeed, they don't succeed, but at least you tried it, right? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have anything that you'd like to share in the comments, I would love for you to share it. I love reading what you guys have to say, although recently I know I haven't been the best at responding to things just because life has been a little hectic. And yeah, last week I had like this health thing. I'll talk to you guys about it in another video. But yeah, take care of yourselves, you guys, especially when you're like reaching your 30s like me. Your body just not cooperate the same way as it does in your 20s. So you have to learn how to take care of yourself differently in your 30s than you did in your 20s. In your 20s, you can get away with like so much. In your 30s, that stuff catches up to you. I hope you have a beautiful day. Are you excited for the new event coming out? Are you excited for Mawile? Where did you go this week? I should have gone to Taupe Hollow just to raise the area bonus a bit more there, but I mean, we're at Tundra. I can technically easy pass my way out, but we're just gonna commit. We're gonna save our diamonds, and we will see how this week goes for me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it every time you do. And I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, good luck, and have fun. Bye.